and welcome everyone to this Living Miraculously webinar, A Taste of What's Possible. Grace and I are excited to be here with you and to explore this idea of living miraculously. It's been something that began as a program 3 years ago, something about 3 years ago now, and it just took on a life of its own. And there's so many great distinctions in this exploration that we really want to share it with as many people as possible. So we'll be together for the hour, and Grace and I will open up the conversation a little bit. But what's important is we really would like to engage with you. So as we're talking, or maybe even as you came on with some intention. Something intrigued you about this. So it's good to keep that in mind, keep your intention in mind. That will form, where your curiosity might be for where you want to explore or how in the topic. And then as we get talking, that may happen for you too. You may have some places that you want to either share about out of your own experience or ask more about. So you can put your hand up. We'll do later, we'll do a whole where we can interact with you. And if need be, you can type into the chat, although we prefer to interact with you directly, because sometimes it's hard to read the chat while we're talking. So that's it for logistics, I think. Anything else I missed?
No, that's perfect. And obviously people will get their replay within a certain time frame. So don't feel like you have to really catch all of this in one go. We really encourage and invite people to listen to the replay. In fact, many of our participants who take part in the actual Living Miraculously program are not even always able to be live. They're actually doing the program on replay, and we get incredible feedback even about the replay participants, just how much they're receiving. So go back and listen to this if you'd like to, and if you're not here, we're glad we're able to offer this replay. But yeah, let's get started, Dominic. And I think you and I were exploring our intention around this, and I feel that's a lovely place for us to start. Yeah, so what do you see there?
Well, for me, it's been curious because the thing with this program is we have been offering it for 3 years. We do, it's like an 8-week exploration that we do. And we keep offering it. And the reason is because we keep participating in it. We're not really offering it. We're participating in this exploration. And so why do we keep doing that? There's something about this for me, and it is the way the premise in the program and all of that is so powerful, because it is about living miraculously, which in a way is just living. Okay, so to me, it really connects with what Sid said. Sydney Banks, who's foundational to what we share here. So Sydney Banks, at some point in his teaching and sharing, I think he experienced some frustration about people keep coming and they keep asking questions and all of that. And he said, look, stop talking about all this stuff and go live your life. And I think that that's a lot of what living miraculously is. I feel like it's about living your life. Life is miraculous. Words don't teach. Studying life doesn't teach. Studying these things doesn't teach. What it is live your life in unnoticing. And we designed the program like that, so that, because Grace and I in the beginning, we were like, well, we don't want it to be about insights, and we don't want people just coming and doing that typical exploration thing, but they have to experience, because that's the thing, is one, experiencing miracles, sharing about the miracles that they experience. And so that's the living and then the noticing. And what we do is a conversation that takes that deeper and deeper into the, and there's something uplifting about the community that's gathered around it. You know, which is why many people feel like us, they sort of have continued in that exploration. But yeah, so how about you, Grace?
Well, I love what you're pointing to there, Dominic, you know, that this is about, it really is about living. And I think that we all know when we're striving and efforting and pushing. I even noticed that in myself just today, where I'd give myself plenty of time to do things, and yet it started to feel like time had run away. I started to feel the striving and the efforting begin in order to get a certain number of things done. And the beauty of this Living Miraculously approach is even just noticing that helped me relax back into where I was in the moment. And that might sound so simple to many of you, might sound irrelevant. But the reason it's so relevant is that it is those simple incremental changes that make for a life well lived. So here we are, we can go from an experience of striving and stress and efforting and worrying about time to just noticing that feeling we're living in. And therefore, kind of just relaxing back away from it. And as a result of doing so, you know, what I saw today in particular was the miracle was that there was plenty of time to do everything, plenty. And my experience of that really dramatically changed as I saw the feeling I was living in, that stressful feeling. And this is an ongoing education, friends. You know, this isn't like, oh, do our program and then you're sorted. You know, as Dominic pointed to, you know, we're participating in this. We're all deepening our level of understanding and consciousness as we go along. And so what was so clear to me in this experience today was, oh, wow, there I go again, thinking it's all on me to get everything done in a certain amount of time. Well, it's not. Like, the miracle is that as you start looking in this direction, you start to see that life's got your back. Life knows what we need and when we need it. Life even knows who we need and when we need them. And there's something about this approach that just allows us to move gently from that experience that we usually live in, you know, that experience of stress and striving, to this more graceful, relaxed, enthusiastic approach. This experience is very different, and it's who we are. You know, I love when I'm working with Dominic, his constant reminder, you know, on our calls, you know, this is who we are. We're remembering who we are, and it's not all on us. We can live our lives in a very different way as we start to remember who we truly are. And how do we notice? Well, part of it is exactly what happened to me today. It's like, man, we notice when we're in the stress and the striving, and we settle back. We relax. And that's what I love about this. That's what I'm so enthusiastic about around this direction that we're lucky enough to keep sharing with people.
Yeah, there's something that has me relax in the deeper understanding of what is this energy that is life, and it's flowing through me, it's living and breathing me. And so this is what we do in the program, is we just understand that more deeply. There's it's all noticing. There's nothing we're teaching like a new idea or some concept or something. What it is noticing. So what this energy that's living and breathing me, it moves toward my thriving. And we know that because you can look at this energy. It's life. That's what life is. What is life, right? It's this energy that wants to express in uniquely in different forms. We're all different, but we're also different to like a tree or an animal. So, and you look at those and that life flows through them and it expresses toward their thriving. And so that's what's happening with us. So what's that mean toward thriving? And when we begin the program, we begin with the first week in our theme is true desire. And so, in other words, the movement of life is toward your true desire. What does that mean? Life moves toward all that you truly desire. You believe that? You wake up in the morning with life unfolding, taking you, wanting to express itself in the direction of what you truly desire. Wow. So that's how I get woken up in the morning, is to come alive and to unfold and express to all that I desire. And that is what the inspiration of life is toward. Now, how does it know what I desired? How does it know what I want? Are you kidding? That energy is the infinite, all-knowing intelligence, what Sydney Banks called mind. If it didn't know what you truly desire, that is not a very all-knowing energy, is it? So that energy of life knows more clearly than you and I what we truly desire. And what we truly desire is what is most joyful, what is most satisfying and fulfilling in my life, what is most loving, what is the greatest peace, the greatest thriving. And so, what do I need to do about that? What do I do about that? Well, there's only one thing you can do about that. What you can do is allow it. When you understand what that energy, what that nudging, what that wants, it wants what you want. It wants more than what you think you want. And it's in the direction of truly what you desire, in levels of love, peace, satisfaction, and joy that you can't even imagine. It is beyond what you think. And what exactly do I need to do about that? The only thing I can do is to allow it. And this is all that living miraculously is. To what extent will I allow it versus resist it? Now, why would I resist it? That makes no sense. There's no way I would resist it. Well, you are a free thinker. You are made in the nature of creation. Creation, the truth of reality, is pure consciousness. Consciousness is free. You are free. So I am free. I am free to think anything. So now, when it comes to resisting, how would I resist rather than allow my true desires to unfold in my life? Is just think against them. No, I'm not going to think against them. Why would I think against my own desires? Well, we come by it innocently. Right? I would love to be in a relationship if I'm not in a relationship. So that's great. Now you're noticing true desire. You can feel the excitement of it. So that's cool. That's exciting you. All you do is allow it. And it's like, yeah, but it's not easy at my age. What did you just say? What? Well, you know, nowadays you have to use those dating apps. I hate them. Well, what are you talking about? We started with this true desire and this unfolding, and it was allowing, and all of a sudden now we're in resistance. And we do it innocently. And that's all resistance is my own thinking. It is me against myself. So when I'm not living miraculously, if I would allow that to unfold, what I would find is it'll move me into miracles and synchronicities. And you're never going to believe who I met. And out of the blue, this person introduced me to somebody, like all this stuff that just kind of happens. And we're like, it was like a miracle. Yeah, because that's what life is. Life is a miracle. The most ordinary thing in the world. Miracle. That's how life is. It works. It's like a miracle. And so what we do in the program is keep we do exercises. We're very practical about it, as opposed to telling you, oh, life's a miracle. You should like see it's a miracle. We do these little things, like we have a miracle journal we encourage, where it's like getting your attention on noticing these ideas and principles that are not a concept we've made up. It is a noticing that life is miraculous. And through some of these little exercises and these little things, you start to notice, pay more attention to, and that alters your understanding. And of course, your understanding is the way you live. You always live according to your understanding. So, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I think that the true desire piece is one of the pieces that, you know, is one of the weeks in our core, our program, that people, they really wake up to what they're wanting to create or call in. You know, there's a level of self-permission begins to occur as you have that clarity on your desire, and not, and it's okay if you don't know what those true desires are. In fact, we're so good at talking ourselves out of it and out of those, that initial week, and the reason we put it as week one is the week where you really do start to get in touch with what makes you come alive, what is it you're really desiring to experience now in this season in your life. And we get to play from there. You know, we get to really play from there. The thing I love most, Dominic, really about being able to offer this again is that there is an incredible synchronicity. As you just mentioned, the synchronicity, there's an incredible synchronicity that begins to occur as we wake up to noticing what is working in our lives, where we are seeing the miracle. And I know for many of our participants, and for me too, it's been like such a relief to realize that life is not all on us to figure everything out and get it all sorted. That there is this incredibly loving energy available that at the drop of a hat, if we just ask, there is this incredible energy available to support us in everything that we need. I often joke alongside with Dominic about even just the birth of this program 3 years ago, you know, just came from my own desire and my own asking for something fresh in my work life, for something wonderful to occur. And interestingly, as we've noticed alongside our participants, you know, wisdom came in with a nudge, but that had nothing to do with business or a program or work, and everything to do with going out and enjoying life. And so that's all I did, is I followed that nudge. I went to London and had a little trip. And it was during my time in London that nudge then woke up to really hearing a clear direction for what was next. And that clear direction was in the form of this program. Now, like, if I had started to think up what I should do and think up and figure out what was going to be next and not listen to any nudges that life was giving me about enjoyment, there's no way that 3 years later we would be in this vortex of fun, still offering this gorgeous program. And yet that's available for all of us. I'm not the exception here. There is a level of miraculous and a level of support that is available to us as we get in touch with our desires, as we are in touch with noticing the miracles, and as we're remembering who we truly are. And that is what we hope to point to as we go along each week, that our participants would wake up further and further and further, and us too, Dominic and I too, that we would wake up further and further and further to what we're truly made of and who we really are, and how much support is available when we get out of the way.
Mm-hmm. Well, we look forward to, again, if questions or sharing, and thank you, Naomi, for putting in a little miracle right now that just happened. You got home and forgot your key, and now your son's coming over with the key while you wait on a bench in the sunny grass and all of that. It's like little things that are always working for us. They're little surprises and delights. Well, they're little, they're miraculous. And as we pay attention to what we label as little, in A Course in Miracles, it says there's no order of magnitude to miracles. And Abraham Hicks says it's as easy to create a castle as a button. And so there isn't a difference. A miracle is a miracle. It's no more difficult for the universe to get you your keys that you forgot somewhere. It's no more difficult to do that than to find you the relationship of your dreams, than to build out a business and work that you love and that is fully satisfying for the rest of your life. One of these is no more difficult than the other. And it's a matter of, Grace, you were just saying right now too, how it's not all on us. And there's something about that direction, which is really all of it. It's not all on us. It's not all on us. It's like, bottom line, none of it is. And it's so funny how that's obvious on the most important thing. My breathing is not on me. My digestion of my food and circulation of my blood is not on me. Do you have any idea how complicated that stuff is? I mean, how do you ingest food and then somehow move the nutrients, the appropriate nutrients, into the right cells? Because there's like 50 trillion of these cells. And so you do that, and that's not on me. And it's so funny because I can accept that it's not on me, and I'll tell you why I accept it. Because it would overwhelm me if I thought that I would need to do anything about that. So it's very easy for me to let go of that. I can accept it. Listen, I can allow that. I can allow my breathing. Because I don't know how to manage my breathing, right? So I can allow that. I trust life to take care of my very life. But my business, no, wait a minute, but my business, I think that needs me. I think it needs me. A relationship, I think I'd have to figure that out. Yep. Oh, my to-do list. There's no way. There's no way. That's way too complicated. I mean, life's okay with the food digestion, that kind of stuff like that. But my to-do list, you should see it's pretty complicated. If I'm not on it, if I'm not actually getting it done, yeah, it's not going to happen. So it's very funny how we do that. And so you almost like living miraculously is how far are you willing to understand this? How far are you willing to accept this? That what you think is up to you, not even that is. Not even that is. And that when you leave that area you've been struggling with, that you haven't been able to make happen, if you could leave it alone, see it differently, it would work as beautifully and as perfectly as the food digests in your body. It would work, it would unfold with the intelligence and perfection of the way that you're breathing. That's how much intelligence would be allowed to it and not interfered by my own thinking opposing it. So,
yeah.
do we want to hear from you? Want to hear if you want to apply this in something specific or share something for yourself? Yes. Oh, I see Jacqueline's hand. Jacqueline Harris. I see you visually, so yes, you can unmute and go ahead. And then anybody else, if you click raised hand if you want, or otherwise we'll do the same like this. Are you unmuted?
I'm unmuted now. I couldn't find the raised hand, so it was easy to do this.
Yes, thank you.
I just want to make sure I don't go on. I just want to, first of all, thank you for being here, because you've been part of a very long journey of mine for about 6 or 7 years at least now. So it's just, and it's that constant need to remember and remind and be part of, and just keep coming back to it and laugh at all the times I forget, that we'll all forget that we find ourselves. It's easy on these to just talk about all that stuff, the good stuff, without going, no, I actually forgot for 3 days. There's usually a 3-day like maximum limit to it, I've noticed that, But I just wanted to say that word noticing was what came up for me years ago. One of the first things I realized that was noticing was such an important word to me. And saying to people, it's like, did you choose your favorite color? No, you noticed it. And then somebody would go, but I don't have a favorite color. Okay, try and have one. You can't, can you? It's like that difference between the thinking brain that is trying to make stuff up all the time about us and figuring stuff out, and then just noticing who we are. And noticing, like, years ago, I had a conversation with my husband where he was, and it was funny, it was just a joke, where he knew somebody who had gone into the hotel business, made a fortune out of it, and we'd known them from childhood, and it had always been a childhood dream, and they'd done really well. And I'm going, well, I'm sorry, but I noticed I wanted to be a storyteller. I wasn't quite going to go in the same direction. But it's the noticing, and I just wanted to point that out, and also say that, Grace, you just used the term figuring it out. And I have spent so much of my life in the past, I guess other people have as well, making plans and then simply not following them. And then realizing there was a reason for that, because I've given the wrong bit of my brain the wrong job for most of my life.
Wow.
Which, and it's like, not your job, is it? Damn it, you're good at some stuff, you're rubbish at this. Let's just let it go. And yeah, but the main thing in this is just to say this huge thank you, because that thinking against ourselves, the not allowing, I found myself describing that as when I find myself 10 inches to the left of center or 10 inches to the right of center. That shows my age, doesn't it? Inches. But anyway, and that idea of just coming back into allowing, which, yeah, on a good day, on a bad day. And on a bad day, quite often it's just a case of being really okay with not being okay. That was another realization of being really deeply okay with some really terrible stuff that usually doesn't get talked about for obvious reasons, because we don't all want to go down that rabbit hole together. But it does. And it's been interesting to live that and this. at the same time, and people
Mm.
recognize that. I'm sure, obviously we've all been there. So it is just mega thank you. Those are just my couple of noticing, figuring it out. Brain wrong job. And how funny that is, actually.
Well,
Um,
that was such an important share, actually. And I love what you started with when you said, sometimes you can, I heard it like this, that sometimes you can go away from the noticing for about 3 days. And after 3 days, you realize, well, my God, that's a life well lived, because there are people out there that really, it takes them 3 years. It might even take them 3 months or 30 years. They're just not, they're just not innocently just not tuned in at all to when they fall out of that level of well-being. So if you're coming back to your center and you're noticing and your miracle within 3 days, you're doing very well, my friend.
No, and I feel very fortunate. It's like we none of us own any of this either, do we? It's not like, oh, I'm good because I've got this. It's like I've just been lucky enough that it was always going to unfold, that I was always going to find it, that, hey, how lucky am
Mm.
I, sort of thing. So yeah, wish it for a lot of other people.
Mm. Thank you, Jacqueline. And before we go to Danielle, the other thing you said that I think is so important is how, and sometimes, and life's not always rosy. So there's these some things that happen to us, and that when we look in the program, because this is where we come together, and this is where community is important, right? So we come together, a community of people with the deeper understanding, and explore together. But my friend died. I mean, how's that miraculous, right? And it was right in the middle of our program. I had a friend of mine, that 30-year relationship. He was in the program, and somewhere in there, he passed away, went in for some surgery, and then passed away. And it's like, are you kidding? This is living miraculous. This is part of living miraculously. So it's the real exploration of that, and exploring even within the community, because yeah, that's life too. That is also life. That is also um life doesn't go unmiraculous at some point and then gets its bearings and come back. It's never not, right? It's never not miraculous. So we forget, and certainly we forget when an experience like that happens. Something bad happens in my relationship or my business or something like that. So it's great to have the community, and I felt that support for myself, where we could be real with each other and talk about that, and how does that connect to this deeper knowing as well. Yeah, thank you, Danielle. Yeah, and actually, Danielle, funny
Hello.
that you would speak right now, because you really were going through something like that in one of the, yeah, oh my God, I forgot. Yes, that's true. Yeah.
And my latest, so the program is so awesome. So even just right now, I'm so excited because they're like you leaning into what feels good. I'm at my mom's place. I haven't been back here since she passed away. And I have an entire 47-year-old stuff full of house to go through. And coming into this, I'm like, I don't know what to do. Like, I don't know what to do. So I'm leaning into what feels good. And the day, and I actually don't know what to do. So I have to just let it out. I'm like, I don't know. What do I do? And then the neighbor across the street who's been super helpful, she's like, hey, actually, my daughter needs a place to stay while she's trying to exit her like toxic relationship. I'm like, this is great. Suddenly I've got like purpose. So suddenly I'm energized to actually purge. And I have now a focus. Like, okay, top floor. I got to make it like livable, rentable. And it feels good because it's something my mom would like, something I would like. Like that's amazing. I'm excited right now because I've arranged for um donations and they're picking it up. They're picking up like 15 bags of stuff right now. So
Mm.
amongst this chaos of like as I was coming in, I'm like, no idea what to do. but what feels good? What like just guide me to, and then yeah, she happens to say, hey, we need a place to stay. Great. Just right now, like literally just right now, my other friend from the city I live in is coming into town for a race. She's like, I can help out. I'm like, awesome, great. And the race she's doing, I wanted to do, but it's full. And then it just so happens that her other friend can't go, so I can take her place. Really good. I'm like, okay, trying to catch all these intentions in a time that I just don't know. Like who like I can't figure this out. So let's just put it out there. And that's been really exciting right now to see things actually unfold without effort, like without effort. It's like in a time where there's like there is work to be done, but it's not with the mental heaviness of like, oh my God, like, what the heck am I doing? So that part's good.
I love that. Yeah. And Danielle, you know what comes to mind as you're sharing that is like, thank you for sharing that for everyone. And what comes to mind is we're always asking, even if we don't even if we're not voicing the words verbally, even if our mind can feel overwhelmed with so many things that are going on, we're always asking. And what I love about you is that you're noticing the support that life is ready to give you in any moment, even with everything you've got going on. You know, somebody else might get that call from the neighbor and not notice. They might just be like, oh, for God's sake. And like somebody else is looking something from me. Another thing I have to take care of. Another thing I have to do. Look how you're noticing. You're plugged in a miraculous way. You're receiving that guidance and that support, and you're asking whether you're aware of it or not in such a just such a natural, trusting way. And I just love seeing that for you.
I was listening to replays of the past sessions as I was here trying to clear my mind, go on a run. So I was listening to quite a bit. The replays are awesome. So I was listening to quite a bit of replays, which was very intentional and very helpful to actually get me in the right mindset to be able to have this all unfold. So that it was good.
Yes, I want to say as well, you've been a gift in the rounds that you've been in because you're sharing and what you've been through. Because that's the example of life's not all rosy. There's tough stuff. And are you able to be living miraculously through real life, not just the once you get it all in order? And what a gift it's been, and so much to see and explore, through that. And I love your example of how you potentially you've got the house thing figured out. You're the distributing of and sorting it all out is getting figured out. And then notice how life doesn't forget you in the process. You should probably do a run.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah, it's true.
That doesn't forget you in the process. Everything is sorted out. There is not, that's why it's an infinite, all-knowing intelligence. It doesn't forget anything. It covers it all. And the question is, can you notice how all of it is covered? And that's what all this is. It's like expanding my ability to notice how much is covered, because it's beyond what I can imagine and what I can think. Yes. And I'm hoping last thing is that for sure you must be using your mom to get all this sorted out, right?
What do you have to do to help guide me? Yeah, it's good. Just easy.
That that one is something really great that's brought into the program so much. When one of the weeks we talk about synchronicity and spiritual support. And I remember in the beginning, I was like, I don't know if I'm buying any of that. And Grace brought that part into the program. And I kind of was, well, I'm not sure about this. And it's huge in the program. And Grace lives her life like that. She's the spiritual support, and that's, was obvious to me right now. Who would be most interested about the house and about what needs to happen with their children and all that is your mom. And so your mom hasn't gone anywhere and is available, of course, and as we know through this is that's part of life coming. Thank you.
The program was awesome. Anybody thinking about it, it was so awesome. And literally this Living Miraculously program was so helpful as she was transitioning through to different stages. Like the program, awesome for what it allowed me, the miracles of like there's gazillion of them to mention. And then now my memories looking back, which are all very positive. So it's really nice that I'm so grateful I was able to be able to apply and experience what this program is, helping us to offer. So I'm just so grateful.
Wow. Beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, it's lovely to have you. Are we seeing Danielle in the next one? I'm going to assume so.
Yes, we'll see you in the next round. Fantastic. Magda.
Hi.
Hey.
It's so nice to be in this conversation again.
Yeah,
It's been a while. Yeah, I agree what Danielle said. The program I took was really, really good. So if you haven't taken it yet and you're thinking about it, it's so worth it. There's so many thoughts that were going through my mind as Danielle was sharing, but I guess what I'll say is that everything I've ever created that was just like cool and that lifted my spirits and just like made my soul vibrate, it was not because I like sat down there with a pen and paper and like thought of it. It was just like one little nudge after another that led to something greater. So just a simple example, there's a friend I haven't talked to in like 30 years, and but I guess we were Facebook friends, and she just put on her post looking for a study buddy. And I was like, oh, I need an accountability partner. So I just like reached out, like, I'll be your study buddy. Little did we know what our purpose in reconnecting was, much, much, much greater than being study buddies. And it was so cool because we started off having like 2 study sessions. And after that, we just started chatting. And my brain was like, well, you're being responsible. Like, you're supposed to use this time to work. But our soul was just like, we just need to talk. And as we started talking, we realized we were on the same spiritual path. And part of our spiritual path is that we're both very much like connected to our divine feminine essence. And after many conversations, we actually decided to create a program for women to help tap into their divine feminine essence, which is literally living from flow, which is pretty much like what you teach, the same living not from the mind. And so then we created this program, and then we just like really followed our nudges. Like if we really felt like in our mind too, our mind's like, okay, you got to create this program within a certain amount of months. But sometimes we would have calls where we're like, we really don't want to work on the program. We just want to share what's coming up for us. And we realized that every single time we shared, we ended up using that call towards our program because we learned so much just from the conversation. So it was just so amazing, like going with flow and not from the mind, and what we created, like it's so cool. And it's going at its own pace. Like our mind wanted to speed it up. And right now we're like actually taking a step back from it just to like, I don't know, we don't want to burn ourselves out. But it's just amazing. Like 2 people that are going on their intuitive nudges, you can create so much more than I could have ever imagined. Like I would have never. So our program is called Love and Leadership, it's just all about that. And just talking about it with her and creating these courses is like, I had no idea I would ever be doing this, and I love it. Yeah, kind of like what Kelly was saying. She had no idea I should be doing this with you. So, yeah.
Wow, that's great. And yes, I think you were with us in the early days when the program had just begun. So that's wonderful. And again, great example of how that, someone would say, oh, that just came out of the blue. You were on Facebook one day and then this friend from 30 years ago, etc. But see, nothing's out of the blue, right? Because because life, the universe, is intelligence. It's not random, it's intelligence. And so it's not out of the blue. It's like now is the timing, and it's the perfect timing. And so you came together, and then it's again an intelligence. You come together and you're supposed to be working on this program, except sometimes you just end up talking. And see, most people would look at that and kind of go, ah, yeah, we waste a lot of time, we're procrastinating, we're not getting on with it. But life has an intelligence, and when you follow or allow it to move you and trust, there's also a knowing that that's what's happening. You know, in the middle of it that, okay, well, my plan was we'd get on this call, we would plot out or design our program, but we end up talking. And when you're following what the feeling is, there's that intelligence is in the feeling of connecting you. It's like you sort of go, oh, I guess we were supposed to talk this call. I guess this call was about connection. I guess there's something essential about that in this program, or in that we need to know about it in the program. And so rather than criticizing yourself and judging yourself for it, is you include that in your understanding of this is what living miraculously is.
Totally. And
Yeah.
not only was it like, it not only was it not a waste of time, it was like the best possible use of our time, because it actually, we had such crazy, amazing ideas on these conversations that we of course used in the program to teach others, that we wouldn't have been able to come up with that on our own, probably. So it was actually such a good use of time. So, but yes, of course, the mind's like, but now we're so good at it. Now we trust it so much that we're like, okay, if we're going to talk, no problem. Clearly, like this is going to get us further than if we try to force ourselves to work on a PowerPoint presentation when we completely don't feel the nudge to do it. Yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Dominic. I love hearing your thoughts.
Beautiful.
And
Yeah,
Magda,
beautiful.
you know, that that you use the term really following the nudge or following your nudges, and you know that's like God telephoning us.
Mhm.
And there's something about this program that I believe it helps us hear that phone call a little more clearly, and we start to just get really tuned into that. And so it's no surprise to me at all that in following your nudge and following your telephone call there from God, you get to experience this very effortless flow-like unfolding, which of course you're helping people experience because you're living it. Of course you're able to teach that and have people sign up for your program like that, you know, because you're demonstrating it. And this is the most ordinary thing in the world, and yet it's so extraordinary that we are that well loved and that well made that we have a direct line to God in the form of a nudge. You know, as I said earlier, my nudge, that's all I got. When I was asking the question, what's next for my work life? I'd love to do something wonderful. My nudge was to go to London. And it all unfolded from there. And yet, how innocently we can miss that nudge, how innocently we can argue with the nudge we get, how innocently many of us have learned not to trust the nudge. And so we really hope that in our sharing, and in our participants sharing, like you just did, Magda, that people would actually really start to live from that nudge and that feeling and see their lives really become gentler and more graceful as a result. So thank you so much for sharing, Magda.
Yeah, beautiful.
Thank you also. I love your energies, both of you, so much. Yes, thank you.
Oh yes, that's thank you, Magda. Yeah, I think we've been one of our participants once actually wrote a whole poem and rap about it. He called us the Sonny and Cher. So there's the, because I'm a total geek about this stuff. I get all technical and all of that, and then Grace is just in a different kind of energy and flow about it, and we're in a way we're very different, and then I somehow it just kind of works like that.
Really detailed orientated.
Beautiful.
Dominic, and have this experience of flow between the two of us. So do we have, what time are we at, Dominic? We're probably
7 minutes. Maybe we'll do, yeah, we might be good. So maybe Birdie, and then we'll see with Fatima as well. Or Fatima, I think. Yeah, go ahead. So Birdie, go ahead.
Hi.
Hey.
It just made me laugh, Grace, now because you said, oh, it's God's telephone call, right? I was due to go to the doctor's one day. I remember getting from the breakfast table and thinking, oh, I must ring up and find out when my appointment was. Next thing I knew, as I walked past the phone rang, and it was a doctor's surgery telling me when my appointment was due. So yeah, thank God does call us. And then another one I wanted to just share really. I had a client who used to ring up on out of the blue, right? And very often he'd be catching me while I was preparing dinner or preparing tea, something. And I'd say, I've only got 10 minutes or quarter of an hour or whatever it was. And we used to have long calls. But guess what? The information or the insight that he needed or whatever it was would happen just in that quarter of an hour or 10 minutes or 20 minutes. It was like I stated the time and the solution would appear in that amount of time.
Lovely. Yeah.
As if something new. As if something new. You only need the 10 minutes and you can do it and they can do it. And yeah, beautiful, beautiful. Birdie, I think you've been with us in every single Living Miraculously.
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, I haven't missed one. I missed to be here live sometimes, but yeah, always been able to catch up the replays. So yeah, I love this work. I've been doing it for such a long time. Yeah, it's my thing. As it is yours. So yeah, thank you.
Thank you.
Love having you, Birdie. Thank you. You're a great person.
Thank you. I think I'm a mascot by now.
Fatima, go ahead.
Hi, Dominic. Hi, Grace. Hi, Birdie. Hi, everyone. I am not like Birdie, but I did do one course with you guys, and I absolutely loved it. Dominic, I don't know. I always tell you, you are one of a kind. I don't know Grace very well, but you are very, very special and very, very deep and very, very connected to God and very geeky about it. And I love that about you. So you and I will always have deep, deep conversation about God, about the divine. And as you know, I always tell you, but the only thing there is God. The only thing there is God. There is nothing else. We think that we have a separate self and, we do stuff. But the only thing there is, it's God. And because this is where I am, if we agree with the fact that the only thing there is God, I have a question with how do you always say you have to allow it? How can we allow something that is the only reality? So my question is how, when you say we have to allow it, you are in your separate self. You are in your physical human self. Because the only thing there is God. So we cannot allow something that is the only reality. So my question is, how do you respond to we have to allow it when the only thing that exists, that is real, is God.
Yeah, that's you're evoking my geekiness here, my technical precision of this understanding. So yes, the only thing, there is only one, and for one to know itself, sets up two perspectives. You know, it takes two to know one. It takes two to know one. When there's only one, for one to know itself, it takes two. And you are that. You are that perspective to know what you just said, to know that all this is God, to know that life is miraculous. You are that perspective to know that. And the thing is, when you're in that perspective to know it, which is a finite perspective, a less knowing perspective than the full broader view of you, that's where this idea of resistance, you are not all knowing in that perspective. You are not all knowing, you are not infinite intelligence. And so it sets up that expansion of knowing yourself and knowing more of yourself and knowing more of yourself and knowing more of yourself. So there is only God, and you can experience that. And that is who you really are, because there is no other. And you will spend the rest of this physical lifetime discovering that who you really are is far more than you think, because who you think you are is but a fraction. It's like Sydney Banks said. He said, who you are is a microscopic aspect of the energy of all things. So yeah, who needs to allow? Who you think you are needs to allow miracles. Who you think you are cannot achieve miracles. Who you think you are can realize that they can allow any miracle and anything. They can be or do or have anything. I don't know if that was enough of an answer or satisfying answer, but I think we'll leave it there. And Grace, I'll pop into the chat here. If you would like to join us in the next round, this is a link to it. And this link to it also gives, so we start on May 12th, a few Mondays from now. It's an 11 a.m., 90-minute calls. There are 6 sessions over 8 weeks. We put a couple of weeks in there, which are, we call integration weeks, for you to play. We give assignments, and they're just fun noticing assignments. There's no actual work to do. Everything's about noticing and having fun. That's essential to it. So this link will also give you $100 discount from the program itself as well. So the link automatically applies it. If you are a past participant, though, you would communicate with me, email me, message, because you, as a past participant, you have past participant pricing for someone who's been in the program already. So if don't use this link, just email me and I'll give you your link for that. Grace, anything else at this point?
I think that was very clear. So we really look forward to seeing you. If this speaks to you, feel free to listen to the replay. And thank you all for your participation today, and for hearing us out on what we feel is the Living Miraculously program and approach to life. We hope you loved it. Lots of love, everybody.
Thank you, everyone. And
Bye.
see some of you at the retreat later this week. See you later.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you both.
Thank you. Bye.